show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings and, of course, to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at hivemindcrm.io.
Hey, welcome today. We have our I'm your host, Daniel Martinez. We have a special guest. This is our episode we call Deal Breakdown. We're talking about interesting or crazy deals. We have a special guest, Mr. Deandre Anderson out of Florida. What is your crazy deal?
I'd like to start with a $65,000 deal that I did about a few months ago. So it was a lot that happened in the deal, but I'll try to summarize it down. So I ran to this deal. It was on the market for $250,000, listed on the MLS, Zillow, all that stuff, public records, right? But when I saw the listing, it was listed as a mobile home, and it was on the market for at least a year, right? So I'm like, yo, this has been on the market for a year. It's on the market for $250K. Like, why? Like, what's going on? And by the way, this lead came through my pipeline through the HiveMind CRM. So upon looking at it deeper, I realized that this mobile home, these two mobile homes came with 4 acres of land. Okay. So I'm like, all right, there's a problem here. They have 2 mobile homes. They look kind of junky. There's 4 acres of land. It's been sitting for a year. So upon doing my research, right, I figured out that the real estate agent who listed it, she knew nothing about land. She knew nothing about mobile homes. She listed it wrong. She listed it as 2 mobile homes that come with 4 acres of land, not 4 acres of land that comes with 2 mobile homes. All right. So if she would have did it backwards, I guarantee you that listing would have been sitting there for a year. It was in a prime location. It was right by airport. I guess the buyers that were looking on the market, other realtors, they didn't realize what they were missing. But I came in and I already had direct contact with the seller because they already let me know that the listing was expired. Okay. So even though it says it was listed for a year, the agent still never took it down. But when I got in contact with the sellers, direct the seller through the HiveMind CRM, they said that listing is expired. It shouldn't even be up there. So I reached out to my buyers who buy land in that area. I said, hey, 4 acres of land right here in this area. I'm looking for $350,000 for this property. Right. Ooh. So buyer comes back to me. They say, hey, we can't do 350, but we can do 320. I was like, oh, great. Right. So went back to the seller, said, hey, 250, no problem. Got the contract for 250, sent it to my buyer for 320. So the spread there is 70,000. I did do a double closing, so cover some extra costs, and I ended up walking away with like 65,000 and some change. So the crazy thing about the deal, there was a bunch of junk on that 4 acres of land. There were 2 trashy mobile homes, like they were done. Right. There was a debris of, like storage containers, boxes. It was a whole bunch of stuff. So I had to put a clause in the contract, which basically said, if these items were not removed 45 days after closing, then this would be the owner of the buyer. And then we would, move them ourselves. Right. Without the permission of the person we bought it from. So so we closed on it. I got my assignment fee. The sellers got their money, everything. But within those 45 days, they had to move this stuff. So luckily they moved it. It did take them a little bit more than 45 days. But at the end of the day, they got it done. And, that was kind of the end of it. But that was probably the biggest, wildest deal I've done.
What I love about the story is agents suck. Number 2 is that it was listed. I mean, it goes on option number one is that it was listed for a while and then it took the listing down. And every agent that does land, they don't even know what they're doing. I mean, they don't know what they're doing with houses either, but we're not going to talk about that.
That's even worse, man.
Oh man, this is such a good story because I think it's just looking for the gold, finding the gold out there, man. Did you find it? Did you find it listed or did you find it through text?
I found it through text, and then when I put in
Okay.
the address, it came up as listed, and I looked, and it was on Zillow, it was on Realtor.com,
Okay.
it was on MLS, like it was on everything. So I'm pretty sure wholesalers, maybe even other builders, buyers, realtors, like they just all look past it. They saw two trashy mobile homes or a
Yeah.
mobile home and said, "Oh, we don't want those. No one's going to pay $250K for these mobile homes." But they didn't look at the description. They didn't read it. They didn't. I don't know what they didn't do, but they didn't look and see. Hey, this comes with 4 acres of land where you can easily move these homes and then build something, townhomes,
100%.
storage container home, whatever, apartment buildings. Like it was zoned for all of that stuff, and it was like I said, within 5 minutes from a major airport. So I mean, like
Ooh.
that deal was gold. It was gold.
No, it goes to show. Like I think it's funny because we did a deal like this too, where we texted a listed property and ended up getting it, and it was still listed. But you texted it was improperly listed. But I think it's funny, man. It's funny when you get with texting. You're like, I'm gonna hit everybody and see what happens, and you get some gold that digs out of it. Was the debris moved by the seller? Was it moved by you? Was it moved by the buyer? Like who moved
So
that debris that was on the property?
it was moved. So the major things like the containers, there was like some storage boxes and stuff like that. It was moved by the seller, but the sellers put all the other stuff like in a big trash pile and they left it. So we're asking like, hey, are you guys done? Right? They said they were done, so we just made sure like everything in this pile you guys don't care about. They said no, so they moved everything that they cared about. Everything that they didn't want, they just left it in a huge pile. So the buyer ended up hiring the builder to clean the rest of that pile off. So long story short, they moved majority of the big stuff though.
Yeah, because you didn't know if it was something that they actually needed to fill. You're using it for storage or whatever. You don't want to take away their personal property.
Yeah.
100%. No, it's interesting, man. Uh,
Oh, I
did,
also left out that there was a daughter in one of the trailers who wasn't paying
you did leave
rent.
that out. You did leave
I
that
mean,
out.
I just thought about it. There was a daughter in the trailer. She wasn't paying rent. I mean, the parents owned it. It was kind of so and another thing is she couldn't walk. She was like in a wheelchair. So I did do a $1,000 escrow holdback in case they had to evict her off of the out of the trailers, so they can demo them or get them moved off. But she didn't give too much of an issue. The problem was with the parents who owned it. They didn't want to give us her contact information and say, hey, we're buying this. You got to find somewhere to go. Like there was no lease. There was nothing. It was just, hey, daughter, stay in here. This is the best you can do at the moment, I guess. But we finally got the daughter's contact information and she was cooperative and she was still there after closing. But like I said, I did a $1,000 escrow holdback. For the people who don't know what a holdback is, right? So in that area, to do an eviction is going to run you between, let's just say, $500 to $800. So the buyer was like, "Hey, we'll close on it, right, with her in there, but we're going to need you to hold back $1,000 in case we need to evict her, and we got to pay for that out of that." So I was like, "That's fine." So so she ended up leaving. So I got my 65,000. Plus, when she left out of there and they confirmed, I got an extra 1,000. So really it was 66 grand. You know,
There
um,
you go.
yeah, so it was actually 66,000 and some change.
What was your like start to finish? Like 30 days, 60 days, 20 days,
It was a 35 day closing, a 35-day closing. Yeah.
35 day closing? I was like asking that question because people are like, do bigger deals take longer? I'm like, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, but that's probably the biggest, fastest deal I've done. Biggest spread, and it closed really quick. Most deals like that I do, it'll take 60 days, 90 days, but that one, 30 days in and out.
In and out.
And
Perfect.
it has some title issues as well. That didn't, it wasn't too bad where it was like unresolvable, but everything got resolved in those 30 days. Nothing delayed it past the 35.
So where are you doing deals now? And where can people send you deals?
People can send me deals in Jacksonville, Florida, Central Florida, like Volusia County areas. Any parts of Florida. Mainly infill lots. If you do send me some bigger acreage, I'll take a look at it. But mainly deal with things that are, an acre and under, and then maybe up to 5 acres, depending on the area. But I would say anywhere in Florida, send it to me, or I may be a buyer on it and I may buy it. So,
Flipping Contracts Dre on Instagram. Flipping Contracts Dre.
The show is sponsored by The List Guys. Do you need more leads in your local or virtual market? 1 in 10 small businesses don't invest in any kind of marketing. The List Guys have over 35 plus list types to choose from, and you can mix and match any list or criteria. We also use the skip trace list and provide up to 7 numbers and email addresses. Every list you purchase will be scrubbed against previous purchases. The List Guys are here to save you time. Contact the List Guys today at www.onelistguys.com. That's www.1listguys.com.
There you go. I appreciate your time, man. Thanks for coming on. That's an interesting story. And there's gold on listed properties if they've been in there a long time. Just gotta dig in.
yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And use HiveMind to text.
Yes, you HiveMind the text.
There you go. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate your time. Check out us on the next episode of a deal breakdown that may be interesting to you.